Hey guys, and welcome to my tutorial for Ocarina of Time Randomizer, No Major Glitches. First off, what is No Major Glitches? No Major Glitches, or NMG for short, is a rule set for racing in Ocarina of Time Randomizer. It bans 4 major things as major glitches and allows everything else as minor glitches. A lot of newer players are a bit confused on what do I need to know to start racing this rule set? Well, this video is for you. In this, I'll teach you the essential tricks and glitches you'll need for this, and some useful applications for them. Now before that, if you haven't seen my video on ground jumps, I recommend watching that video. Ground jumping is essential in No Major Glitches, and all of the things in that video are allowed in this rule set as well. So alright, with that, let's get started. The first glitch you need to know is the Infinite Sword glitch. It's commonly abbreviated ISG. To get it, you need to interrupt a crouch stab with a text box. So for example, with this sign, B then A. You can do this with any text box, signs, NPCs, even Navi or enemies. This makes the sword all glowy, and it's actually doing damage on every frame. It's very useful for bosses, but it's also useful for another technique known as seam walking. Now a seam is where 2 polygons meet, forming a line or a crevice that you can walk on. You can actually walk on it without ISG, but it's much easier to walk on these with ISG, as ISG is a property that keeps you from falling off ledges. So keep that in mind, as that's going to be important for a trick later in this video. Now, there's a few ways you can lose ISG. If you crouch, your ISG will go away. If you take damage, you'll also lose ISG. So keep those in mind. Now the next glitch you're going to need to know is the cutscene dive, more commonly known as the Navi dive. You might be familiar with Navi diving if you've ever seen an old any% speedrun of Ocarina of Time. The Navi dives used to be used to go to Zora's River from the Lost Woods. But you can also use it here in Kakariko Village to get to the bottom of the well early. So to do it, first you're going to need Navi. Then you're going to grab the edge like this. Now when you climb up, press B twice and then call Navi. Mash C up to call her. You'll follow the bottom like this, and that's a Navi dive. Now if you don't have Navi, you can still get to the bottom of the well early. And this is why the trick is more broadly categorized as a cutscene dive, because there's a few different cutscenes you can use. So the alternative to the Navi dive is the Cucco dive. To do it, you're going to need to get ISG first. Then you're going to need to go over to this Cucco and pick it up. Now you're going to be damaging at every frame like this, so don't let go or it's going to attack you. So line up the well like this, turn around, hold down, and then shield and backflip at the same time. Shield and A. The Cucco will start crowing and Link will fall to the bottom of the well like this. And just like that. That's how you get to the bottom of the well with cutscene diving. You can use it in a few other places with Navi. You can get to Zora's River from the Lost Woods. You can get to Zora's Domain from Lake Hylia. So keep that in mind and get used to doing that trick. So with those 2 under your belt, we're going to move on to explosive glitches. Now explosive glitches are the bread and butter of Ocarina of Time. The next 2 glitches I'm going to show you, I would rate those the most essential of the glitches in this video. If you don't learn anything else, learn these next 2 glitches. They're called the Megasidehops and the Megaflips. Now to do a Megasidehops, you're going to press the button you have bombs on and shield at the same time. Link will instantly drop the bomb like this. This is called a shield drop. Keep that in mind for later. Roll then backflip. Now you're going to wait until the bomb explodes. Make sure you hold shield the entire time you're doing this. You'll know when the bomb is about to explode because it'll start to swell up in size. Now when it starts to swell up like this, roll, then hold left or right, and mash A. And Link will do a Mega Side Hop. Now pausing like that is a very slow way to do it, and don't get used to doing it that way. Learn how to do it without pausing at all, because it's much faster that way. Now the Mega Flip is very similar to the Mega Side Hop, but you can't mash A for it the way you can with a Mega Side Hop. It has to be timed. The setup is pretty much the same until the roll. So when the bomb starts to swell, you're going to roll like usual, but during the roll, you're going to hold down. And when Link enters the explosion like this, you press A to Mega Flip. Now, again, you don't want to get used to having to pause this, but in a pinch, learn how to do it paused, just in case you need to. Now, if you get damaged like that, that means you rolled too late. You can get it with just a little bit of practice. So, if anything, learn these two glitches, because they're the most important. There's a bunch of places you can use them, and I'm going to show you a few. Particularly, it's very useful in Death Mountain Crater. So let's get on our Goron Tunic and head on over. So normally to cross this bridge, you would need the Hookshot or the Hover Boots. But if you have bombs... Oh, I didn't mean to drop two there. If you have bombs... you can Mega Side Hop right across. You can also use Mega Flips here as well. Particularly if you want to get to this heart piece without the hover boots or without magic beans planted, you can use the Mega Flip to cross this gap. You can also use the Mega Flip to get into this fairy fountain early. Normally you would need the hammer to take out those rocks that are in front of it. But with a Mega Flip, well, normally you'll get right over. My position was probably a little bit off. And there you go, just like that. Another place you can use it is in Zora's River as Child Link. So let's say you want to get over to this heart piece early. Normally you'd have to bring a Cucco like all the way up. But with a Mega Flip, you can jump right across and get it early. Another place that's really useful to use this is to skip the Cucco over here. To get to this ledge without the Cucco, you can also use a Mega Flip. Oops. That was silly of me. Let me do it properly for you. Well, if you line it up correctly, you'll land on the ledge, but I didn't line it up correctly. And that's a great example of make sure you line up correctly. And one last place I'd like to show you is in the Shadow Temple. You can use it to get past the first gap. Well, not this first gap, but the gap after this one. My distance was not correct there. Keep in mind the distance this gives you is not like infinite, so like make sure you're kind of close to the ledges when you do this. You really want to like get used to the distances these give you. There we go. Just like that, you can get across. So that's just a few places Megasidehops and Megaflips are useful. There's a bunch more places you can use them, so don't go ahead and like experiment. Like go to places that you normally wouldn't be able to jump across and see if you can mega flip or mega side hop across. Like experiment with these tricks because there's a lot of places you can use them, and to show you every single location would be exhaustive. But there is another useful thing you can do with mega flips and mega side hops. Once you get them down, you can combine them with the hover boots for some interesting mechanics. Now, whenever you use a bomb to get extra distance with hover boots, it's called a hover boost. And it comes in like a few different flavors, kinda. There's a few different ways you can do it. One way to hover boost is to get a damage boost off of a bomb. So you're gonna drop a bomb and you're gonna take damage off of it. And there's only one frame this works on, so right here, the second frame Link is red and taking damage. Equip the hover boots and you'll get a huge boost in distance from it. You can also use it as at the very edge to get a jump instead of a slide like that. So second frame, he'll go off the ledge like that, equip the hover boots, and he gets a huge jump instead. That's actually called a mega jump, but it's part of hover boosting. Another way to get a hover boost is with a mega side hop or a mega flip. And this is most useful in Gerudo Valley. So this crevice here, normally you can't get across that. You can with like a mega flip, but the mega flip is super precise. You can also use a trick called Hookshot extension if you don't have hover boots. But if you do have hover boots, and you're probably going to want to come here with hover boots, you can use a mega side hop on the very edge here, and while Link is in midair, equip your hover boots and hold down, and Link will soar right across the gap. You can also do it with a mega flip, but since the mega side hop is easier, I would just get used to mega boosts with that, or hover boosts. So again, while Link's in midair, you can also use this in the water temple as well. Let's go to the water temple. Oh, not there. Yep, you can also use this in the water temple to boost to Morpha. And you can even get it off of attack type, but that's really hard to do, so I won't be showing you that. But just keep that in mind. You can even get it off enemies. So it's the same thing while he's in midair. When he touches the ground, he gets a huge boost in distance. Another way you can hover boost is with the sword or the hammer. So if you line up with a wall and you crouch stab it, Link will get a little bit of recoil off of the wall. And on the first frame he gets this recoil. If you equip the hover boots and hold down, he'll get extra distance. Here it's not enough. The sword gives less distance than the hammer. But here, if you use the hammer on a certain frame, this one, equip the hover boots, and Link will fly backwards from the recoil. It looks a little bit different depending on how you swing. Like I did a front swing there, but if you do a side swing, you'll get this frame. And it's the same thing. Just equip the hover boots, and just like that. It takes a bit of practice to get this down, but it's useful in places like this in Gerudo Valley. You can also use it in the Forest Temple in a couple places. Alright, so the next trick you're going to need to know is the hookshot jump. And let's see, the graveyard is where we'll be doing the hookshot jump. So the hookshot jump is kind of difficult to explain how it works, but I can show you what it looks like. And this is where the seam walking from earlier in the video is going to come into play. Now the main place you'll use this is here in the graveyard. So start by holding target, then press hookshot and shield at the same time. He'll pull the hookshot out and have it in his hand. That's super important. If you don't do this, it won't work. Now line up with this wall in between these two black splotches. Turn around, get to the wall. Now side hop, hold up, and mash A. I didn't do it right there. I still didn't do it right, I'm sorry. Now he's gonna bonk like that. Start mashing the hookshot. See, I did it late there. It's hard to explain and do it at the same time. I kind of do it on autopilot. But when he bonks like that, you want to mash hookshot and he'll get into this state. Now he's gonna like go back and forth with his arms like this. Well, on the first frame, you see this red dot. You're gonna press the hookshot button. That was actually the second frame. So let's do it again. When you get it, he'll fly up into the air. At the peak of the jump, you want to start holding down. Don't hold down too soon, or he's going to go all the way and fall out of bounds. And if you hold it too late, he's not going to make it onto the seam. Now you're on the seam right now. Keep holding target, and you're going to side hop to the right 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's going to be a Poe. You want to get ISG off of him. If you mess it up, don't worry. Just carefully move into range. And to get the ISG off the enemy, you're going to crouch, you're going to stab, target, and then call Navi at the same time. And now you have ISG. And that's important for staying on this wall. Now you want to head to this corner. Don't just like roll into it, just sort of nudge your way into it. Line up with the seam and follow the line very carefully. If you go too far, you can get stuck in some places. So just very carefully follow this line and use your hook shot to follow it. You want to get to this spot and line up with the Shadow Temple, look to the left or the right, and then side hop in the direction. And just like that, you've gotten into the Shadow Temple early with the hookshot jump. Now I'm showing you this because this particular sequence break is very, very useful. It can save you a lot of time. It lets you skip Den's Fire and Nocturne and Magic to get into the Shadow Temple. Now keep in mind you'll still need Den's Fire and Magic to get 2 chests in the Shadow Temple. But you can check pretty much everything else. Another place you can use the hookshot jump is right here, off of this fence to get to this crate with the heart piece in it. Now this one's a bit complicated to learn, but once you get it down, it's super useful to check these two. To check this and to get into the Shadow Temple early. Now the last thing I'm going to end this video with is one more explosive trick I didn't cover earlier. And that's called the super slide. Now super sliding isn't the most essential thing you'll need to know, but it's kind of part of explosive tricks and it's important to know how to do it. It'll allow you to get across Hyrule Field and overworld areas in general really quickly. And to do it, you're going to drop a bomb, side hop, drop a bomb, backflip, roll, and then when that bomb explodes, start mashing A, and you'll start going backwards like this. And that is a super slide. Now, there's a few different ways you can do it. The setup I just showed you with the side hop is the easiest setup to learn. It has the most leniency. And you actually roll pretty late. Like I have to actually think about rolling late on that. My preferred method to do it is to drop 2 bombs in place, roll, and backflip. And when the bomb starts flashing quickly, that's when you start mashing A. Another method you can do, if you don't like that one either, is you can drop a bomb, roll, backflip, and drop a bomb in midair. And that one's a bit harder to time for me because I'm not used to doing it. Also, I just stored a ground jump. If you get a ground jump during your super slide, that means you actually started mashing A too early. So you want to wait a little bit longer on the next one. And if you get pushed back like that, that means you went too late. So keep that in mind. And there you go. The last thing you can do is what's called a backwalking super slide. Now this is the hardest one to time, but essentially you're going to be backwalking like this. Drop it when it starts flashing quickly and then roll forward. Just like that. Again, you want to mash A for super slides to maximize your chance of getting it. Now the next thing that you can do with a super slide is what's called an extended super slide. And to get it, you're going to need to be familiar with ESS position or the S position on the controller. It's a spot just outside the dead zone that'll cause Link to shuffle around like this without actually moving. It's very important to get used to this if you want to do extended super slides. So to get an extended super slide, you first start with a super slide. So get a super slide. Now you're holding target and shield. Let go of target, get S position, then let go of shield, and when Link starts turning, press target and hold target. You now have an extended super slide, and you'll have it as long as you're holding S position. If you drop S position, Link will stop moving. Once you are in that target shuffling state, you don't need to hold shield, but it can be useful. Just keep in mind if you let go of target with shield, you're going to break your extended super slide. Now the last part of super sliding... Oh, one more thing. You can also turn during... The main reason you want to get an extended super slide is because when you have an extended super slide, you can turn like this. Now, that's... When you shift left or right like that, I'm actually going from ESS down left and ESS down right, respectively. That's called angle changing. And you kind of want to get used to ESS down left and ESS down right when you're doing this, because it'll make it much easier for you to get used to angle changing. If you try to go from left to right, you kind of have to go into a U motion, and it's much more difficult than going from ESS down left to ESS down right. Now the last part of super sliding is the hyper extended super slide. It's the fastest possible form of movement Link can do, and I would say it's the most difficult thing in this video to learn. So to get a hyper extended super slide, more commonly known as a HESS, you're going to do the same setup as a mega flip. But this time when the bomb explodes and Link is in the explosion, you're going to have ESS position and you're going to shield and target at the same time. And Link will start flying backwards like this. So if you timed it right, you'll move like that. So again, make sure you let go of shield but hold target when you're doing angle or directional changes, because if you're still holding shield, Link will just stop moving. And again, ESS down left and ESS down right are the positions you kind of want to get used to when you're doing your angle changes. You can also do all of these bomb tricks I've showed you off of bomb chews. To do a mega side hop, you're going to count to 7 flashes, and then when it starts flashing quickly, I did it late there, but when the bomb chew starts flashing quickly, you're gonna I tried to do a HESS, ignore that. You're gonna mash left and A for a mega side hop. So count 7 flashes. 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go, just like that. The same thing works with mega flips as well. Just like before, hold down and mega flip when Link is in the explosion. You can't get super slides off of bomb chews, but you can get HESSes off of bomb chews, and it's exactly the same thing. Wait for it to start flashing quickly. Now, I got a forward HESS there. That means I was late on my target and shield. Same thing there too. It's a lot more difficult for me to do bomb chews just because I'm used to doing it with bombs. But if you are having trouble, kind of a quick and dirty way of doing it is you can line up with a tree, slash the tree, then drop the bomb chew and get your HESS that way. I can't really explain it and talk at the same time. There you go. The tree just makes the bomb chew explode early so you don't have to time it. And yeah, that's all the major tricks you need to know. I would say to try and get used to using both bomb chews and bombs, but start with bombs first, as bombs are the more important one. And yeah, that's all the essential stuff you're gonna need to know. So just watch my ground jump video, watch this video, and you'll be all set for no major glitches. And thanks everyone for watching. If it helps you, you know, leave a like, leave a comment, share it with people. I don't actually care about likes or comments or even subscriptions, but if you just share this with people who want to learn, like that's perfect. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching this tutorial, and I hope that I see more people in No Major Glitches races.